Hello lads and welcome to yet another video. Now, recently rumours are beginning to spring out from the ground about Series 11 about, who might be returning and what the monsters are going to be and what's going on. Finally some sort of sustenance to talk about. So, naturally, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm keeping my beak of a nose out of all the rumours to keep myself as spoiler fresh as possible. The only thing I might have heard is the Doctor could have a cat. And I can't really talk about that. I mean, you know what? Cool, fine, if she wants, go for it. Hi, it's me, Editing Jay. How you doing? I'm here editing this video and I forgot to mention some things before we get into the meat of it, so let me just have this quick thing to reel off. I've been a busy boy. I've made a short film. Please go and watch it. It's about a hitman and a photographer. They go on a date, hilarity ensues. It's my second year media project, so please have a watch of that. I've also been a busy boy on a channel named Bob Corp. He voiced Zeus the giant swan in the last descriptive Doctor thing, and there, some funny stuff. Go check that out, please. I'll put links in the description, but I didn't mention it in that, so I'm mentioning it now. Okay, right, on to the actual thing that you clicked on this video for now. I've mentioned it and that's out of the way. I'm here to talk about something completely irrelevant. Instead, I'm going to be talking about flawed characters versus unlikable characters, especially in companions in this context, and where the sort of line draws, because I saw something on the World Wide Web the other day which talks about Rose, and I saw someone defending Rose, as they're fine to, and saying that she wasn't an unlikable character, she was a flawed character. And this got me thinking, Rose, she left in 2006, that's over 10 years ago now. Sure, I can talk about that, that's relevant enough. It's more relevant than, I don't know, the Egyptians. Don't know why I use that as an example. Who's talking about the Egyptians? So yeah, what makes a character flawed and how does this apply to Rose? Well, let me discuss. The major complaint people, including myself, have against Rose is how dismissive she was of people that she was close to. She left everything behind to go and travel with the Doctor and to be with him forever, quote unquote. The main sort of flaw here is the fact that she is dismissive and she has not an emotional barrier, but she distances herself from her family and her loved ones and her friends, I suppose, and she puts her entire being into the Doctor. Now, what I find to be the fine line between likeable and flawed characters, to have that nice mix, is for a character to be flawed yet likeable, they've got to improve their flaws. They've got to be self-aware of their flaws and through the course of the narrative seek to improve them. This is where I think Rose fails, which is why one of the reasons that she's my least favourite companion of the T. Davies era. For reference, it's Martha Donna Rose. Now, this isn't to say that she's a poorly written character, because the fact that she does have this sort of negative side to her and that she's not a Mary Sue, or however you want to call it, is good. That's some depth, that's some layers to her character. That's something which makes us think, hang on, this isn't a perfect character, it's not a shining example of what a person can be, and that is a well-defined character. I'm not disputing or arguing with how well written Rose was, it's just that when it came to writing her flaws, I think they were not handled as well as they could have been to make her still likeable. I think the most sort of prevalent this has been is in the Series 2 finale, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Like, switch your mind back all the way back to then, see if you can remember. And it always annoys me, and it's one of the reasons why I don't like Doomsday. I mean, Doomsday is a great story. I mean, it is one of the best of Series 2, but it's just I can't really watch it because I hate Rose in it. She literally dismisses her family. She just ignores Mickey, she ignores Jackie, she ignores her previously dead dad, and she hangs it all on the line to be with the Doctor. She is presented with a choice of leaving with her family or staying with the Doctor. She can't have one without the other. And it's not just this series, through the 2 series really that we've seen of Rose, it has been developed that she is very dismissive. In Rose, she just abandons Mickey when it's clear that he needs her. He's pathetic in that scene in Rose, but he's clinging to her leg, and it is obvious that he needs her, especially after being abducted by aliens, and she just gives him a kiss, and runs off. Mickey later makes this apparent how he felt. I think it was in Boomtown, where you just kissed me on the cheek and then left without a goodbye. And that's understandable. That makes her a bit of a shitty, flawed person. This arises again. She doesn't call her mum, and her mum's always wondering where she is. And this is one of the good things about the T. Davies era and how family orientated it is. We get to see a load of perspectives from a load of sides, and we all get different opinions towards one character, while the Doctor sees her in this sort of rose-tinted glasses. I have just come up with that joke right now, and I'm incredibly proud. We can see her more flawed side through her family and how her decisions affect them. The fact that we've built on this for 2 series, and then Rose is finally presented with a choice to fix this and fix her flaws, she just doesn't, and she stays with her family, and she's screaming to take her back. She still wants to be the Doctor after being forced to stay with them. It literally was stay with your family or die in the void, and she still wanted to be with the Doctor. And even on the Bad Wolf Bay scene, she's crying for the Doctor. Her mum consoles her and hugs her while she's crying, but the Doctor is still ultimately the one thing that she cares about. Even when she returns in Series 4, in the Journey's End 2-parters, she's still concentrated on the Doctor. She's still bursting through parallel worlds to try and find him, with next to no concern about wanting to stay with her family and have that human relationship. If she acknowledged this in Series 2, then she could build upon that, and she could finally say, no, I want to settle down with my family. I've treated them a bit pants over the past 2 series, so I feel like I should finally put some time aside for them. Now I'm presented with a choice, and I've got to have one, and I can't go back to the other. If she chose with her family, that would have made her a lot more likeable, because she would have acknowledged her flaws, and she would have built upon them and become a better person in the long run. The fact that she didn't do this, sort of elevated her flaws and just made her an unlikable character to me and to some others. I know that people do like her, and that's fine if you do. That's not, it's just from a writing perspective and from a character's perspective, I just don't like her because of that. It's not to say that she's a badly written character, but her flaws were presented bad. Now, quickly, because I've just seen that we're approaching the 8-minute mark on recording, that's scary. What is an unlikable character? Because Rose wasn't written to be unlikable, and I don't think any of the characters were written to be unlikable. She was written to be flawed. Now, I think a even worse example of Rose is Clara. Yes, her. Now, I think she was supposed to be written to be multidimensional, to be layered, but she was even worse than Rose, because there was no outsider perspective seeing the effect that she was having. She wanted to be like the Doctor, in a similar vein to Rose. She wanted to be with him forever. She wanted to be not just his right-hand man, but his equal, and to fight alongside him on the same level as him, which, is a decent, on paper, it's a decent sort of perspective to go to when writing for a companion. And it was mostly addressed in Face the Raven, and that's the sort of only time her flaws were acknowledged. And she sort of acknowledged this. Now, I'm pondering here, because, as always, I don't have a script for these things, so I'm wondering. I think that's why I liked Face the Raven so much, because Clara acknowledged her flaws, and she sort of accepted it, and she said, no, I've put myself in this situation, I shouldn't have been like you, I've got to face the consequences. And it's facing the consequences which really build upon a character. That develops them. That's the character development. That puts the development in character development. If I'm saying it too much, don't let me know, because you can't. But this was all stripped back in Hellbent when when the Doctor paused time to save her and take her out the time stream, and she just, instead of wanting to go back and face the consequences, she would just pissed about a bit more time and space in a TARDIS cafe. We all know the story, we all know how it works. Not only does that make her beyond flawed, that makes her even more unlikable. You're not building upon anything here. You're not developing as a character. You're not acknowledging your flaws. It's worse than being a Mary Sue, in my opinion, because you can be perfect, and sure, that's bad writing for a character, but if you're perfect, you don't have any flaws to acknowledge. If you've got flaws and you don't acknowledge them and you don't try and improve yourself, then what are you? You're just a badly written character. Now, I'm talking about characters, but feel free to put that on a motivational poster and, slap it on your wall. J. Kent, 2018. So yeah, I suppose if I have to make this relevant, companions in the future. Give them flaws, make them dismissive of their loved ones, make them, I don't know, pick their nose or chew with their mouth open. As long as they acknowledge it and build upon themselves, that makes a good character and thusly a good companion. Because if a companion truly done that and done it in the truest sense, then they would probably become my favourite companion of recent years, and if not of the whole New Who era, because there hasn't really been a companion which has had flaws, acknowledged them and built upon them. And travelling with the Doctor and seeing the whole of time and space is an excellent way to do that by development. I think I've rambled enough now. You get my point of flawed versus unlikable characters. What do you think about it? The question of the day. So yeah, Rose, not a badly written character, just, you know, poorly handled. Clara, just bad. Don't do it. See you next time. Have fun. Bye.